and each one of us is in a different stage at this time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, know that indeed the life of this world is amusement and diversion. This is the stage of a child, so they're in their play and games and fun. Wazinatun, and beautification. This is the stage of the life of a teenager or a young adult when they are focused on looking good. For women, they're focusing on adorning themselves. For men, they want to wear new clothes and look good amongst each other. وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ, and competing with each other. And this is the next stage for people as they progress into adulthood. And this is when we're competing in our careers, in our businesses, in trying to achieve a status and fame and a good career in this world. وَتَكَاثُرٌ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ, and competing to increase in wealth and children. This is the next stage once we establish ourselves in our careers or in different parts of our lives. Then we're focusing on putting money together. People want to put a deposit on a house, they want to save for a holiday, buy a new car, or getting married, and then in children. So then they are competing amongst each other about whose children are more successful, and they're focusing on supporting their children in moving forward in this world. And they're comparing and competing with each other in this. كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ. This example is like the rain which comes onto the harvest, and then the plants come out and the farmer is pleased when he looks. So this is like when a farmer has been putting all of his hard work in his whole life, and he's been preparing the field, and then the rain comes and the plants come out, and he sits there and he looks at it happily, and he's looking at all of the results of his achievements throughout the stages of his life. ثُمَّ يَهِيجُ فَتَرَاهُ مُصْفَرًّا ثُمَّ يَكُونُ حُطَامًا. But then it all dries up. As the season changes, all of that crop is finished, and then it just becomes like straw and it's finished. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ عَذَابٌ شَدِيدٌ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانٌ وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. And in the hereafter, there's a severe punishment and the forgiveness of Allah and His pleasure. And the life of this world is nothing except a delusion. So when that person looks back at his crop and realizes, I've put all of this work in, and within a season it's finished. And this is what happens as the person finishes going through all of those stages of their life. They look back and they think it was all nothing, it's gone. And then the reality comes, the real life comes. And then based on how each of us have gone through those stages of our life, that is what will determine which of the two paths that we will take after we finish going through these stages in our life. And for some of us, we might finish at the first stage and then we go straight into the hereafter. So it's not necessary that all of us will go through all of these stages and then come to the hereafter. And then the two paths that we have in front of us are severe punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or His forgiveness and His pleasure. So we know that these are the stages that we will go through, and time does not stop for anybody. And we can see that now as we're approaching the new year. There's a matter of days left. How many of us had plans and a vision for what we were going to do over 2022? But 2022 is gone now. And this is how our life will be gone. Now we look back at this year the same way as we approach the end of our life. We look back at our life and say, what did I do? I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that, and I didn't achieve any of those things. And this is why we have to realize that these stages that we go through in our life of trying to achieve success in this world, or going through different parts of our life in amassing wealth or children or success, these are stages of life. They're not the purpose of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Does man think that I created him and left him without any purpose? The stages of life are different to the purpose of life. And those people who have knowledge and those people who reflect will realize this, and this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about them, وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا سُبْحَانَكَ فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. That they reflect on the creation of the heaven and the earth. They reflect on themselves and they say, my Lord, you did not create all of this for no reason. Glory be to you, so save us from the punishment. So that doesn't mean that our purpose is to not go through these stages or to hide ourselves in the corner and just spend our life in worship. That's not the purpose of our life. The purpose is to go through those stages for Allah's sake and to focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to make our purpose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever is concerned about the world, Allah will disorder his affairs, make poverty appear before his eyes, and he will not get anything from the world but what has been decreed for him. Whoever is concerned about the hereafter, Allah will settle his affairs, make him content in his heart, and the world will inevitably come to him. So we have to ask ourselves, if we are really intelligent people, do we think that Allah will do a better job in managing these affairs of ours, or do we think that we will do a better job? So if we prioritize Allah and put Allah first and spend our lives with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as our main purpose and our focus, all of these stages of life, He's promised us that He will handle them. So why do we worry? When we focus on them and we prioritize them as our goal, then He will scatter our affairs and we'll only get what's written for us anyway. But if we prioritize Allah and put Allah first, then we don't need to worry, because Allah will look after all of those affairs for us. And we see this in the lives of the people of Allah. They spend their lives focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He puts blessing in every aspect of their life. Financial, in terms of respect, honor, children, wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them everything because they put Him first. And these are the examples that we should follow. So we should turn our attention to achieving our purpose. So what is our purpose? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create jinn and man except to worship me. This worship is not just to attend our Jummah, to complete our prayers. This worship is to realize that each of us has been given a unique way to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to follow the footsteps of our beloved Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It means that we take action, not that we sit. It means that we realize that we have a responsibility to make the world a better place. So the best of those people in achieving their purpose, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ. The best of those are those who benefit mankind. So we have to ask ourselves, are we just alive, going through the stages of life, and then we're going to die, and nothing happened because we were on this earth? Nothing changed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creating us, going through getting our job, our career, growing old, and then we died. Did anything change on earth while we were here? Or did we make it a better place? Did we leave an impact? Did we do something beneficial and achieve the purpose for which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us? And this is our aim. And the hardest thing in life is to find out what each person's unique purpose is. And Mufti Sahib explains this to us. He says that each person's purpose is like a fingerprint. So it's unique to you. So we have to go to the people who are guided and the people of knowledge and sit in front of them, and they will analyze, and we should analyze ourselves. What experiences has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put me through in my life up until today, whether I'm young or whether I'm old? What skills has He given me that are unique to me? What interests has He put inside me, things that I enjoy doing? And how can I use these skills, these experiences, and all of these, this knowledge that I have, or these interests that I have, how can I use them to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is each person's unique purpose. And the hardest thing is finding out what that purpose is. But once you identify it and then utilize that purpose appropriately to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we will have success and contentment and happiness in this world and the hereafter. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of all of our remaining affairs. So we have to take advantage of the most valuable thing that we have, and that's our free time. As we can see with this year, time is flying. You don't even realize where it's gone. So we have to take advantage of that time The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, take advantage of your free time before you are busy. Take advantage of your life before your death. How do you take advantage of it? It doesn't mean to run more after the world. It means to realize what is it that you are trying to achieve with your life to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how are you going to do that, and how can you utilize your time in the most effective way to achieve that goal, to make that impact in this world. And we can see this from the example of the Prophet ﷺ, because of the way that he utilized the people around him and he made them useful to change the course of history. And the most important people in this are the young people, the youth. Some people say the youth are future, but in reality, the youth are present, they are today. And many people who are young, you might think to yourself that actually when I'm older, I'm going to achieve my purpose, I'm going to make a difference. Who's stopping you today? What's stopping you today from doing something like this? We have places like these where we can go, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with people like Mufti Sahib who we can go to and get guidance to realize how can we use ourselves most effectively. And I want to give some examples of a few young people. And this includes, we all know about the story of the Ashab-e-Kahf. They stood up and made a huge impact on and their story is documented in the Quran for all of human history to realize what impact young people had by standing up for the truth. Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam was a very young man when he stood up to Jalut. Hazrat Ali was 10 years old when he accepted Islam. Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam was in her teens when she had Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. Hazrat Aisha was a scholar in her 20s teaching senior companions. Hazrat Fatima supported her father's mission as a child. And there's a female companion, Khawla bint al-Azwar, who was a female warrior. And she was a young woman who trained as a warrior and fought for Islam. Hazrat Asma bint Abu Bakr supported Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and her father during the Hijrah. And she was a young woman at the time. Hazrat Abdullah bin Masood and Zubayr bin Awam were 16 years old when they accepted Islam. Hazrat Uqba bin Amir was 14. Hazrat Jabir bin Abdullah and Zayd bin Harisa were 15 years old. You hear these names and you hear the legacies that these people left, but look at the age that they came to the Prophet ﷺ at. Look at the age that they started learning and making an impact. Hazrat Abdullah bin Mas'ud and Mus'ab bin Umair were 18 years old. Everyone knows these names. Hazrat Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Hazrat Mus'ab bin Umair, a very wealthy companion who gave everything up. And Rasulullah ﷺ gave him a specific mission to bring the people of Medina to Islam. He played a critical role after the Aqaba, the pledge of Aqaba, and he was 18 years old. And then we have Hazrat Usama bin Zayd, who was a general of the Muslim army in his late teens. He was a general of the army in his late teens. So if Rasulullah ﷺ gave him such a significant responsibility that one of the most critical affairs of the whole mission of the Prophet ﷺ was put in the hands of a 19-year-old. This should teach us that we have to utilize our time now and not think when I get older I'll do something for Islam. These were all young people. They didn't waste their time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set their affairs in order and gave them success in this world too. But that's because they found their purpose and they utilized their time effectively in order to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to improve society. They didn't behave like monks where they hid in the corner and didn't engage with society. They were in the world and they utilized their time in the world to support the cause of Islam. And they all went through the stages of life that we outlined. Each of them went through the stages of life that we outlined in the verse that I initially recited. But they went through those stages with a sense of purpose. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about these people, He says that He is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him. So we have to ask ourselves now, and what are we going to do for this coming year? How are we going to make 2023 an effective year? What are our goals for this year? Are our goals to go through the stages of life like someone who's on autopilot and going through the stages that we've outlined in the verse that I recited at the start? Are we somebody who's going to have a sense of purpose? Are we going to reflect on what is it that I am going to do in this coming year to benefit the cause of Islam, to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to benefit people, to make an impact? And we have to be quite open-minded when we think about that. It doesn't just mean doing, like people think Islamic work means, or work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means that you're delivering a lecture, that you're studying Islamic studies and now you're going to teach other people Islamic studies. This is a critical part, but it's one part. It's not all. Because if that was the case, then all Muslims would just spend their time in Islamic institutions studying and they would be considered the successful people. Success is to realize and be the best in your field, but for Allah's sake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves perfection. So we have to work to be the best. Muslims should not be second-class citizens. We should be the best of the best in whatever we're working in. So if you're someone who cooks and has a passion about cooking, cook for Allah's sake. If you're someone who makes movies, make movies for Allah's sake. If you're someone who does sports, be a sports person for Allah's sake. Utilize whatever interests and skills and experience you have. If you're working in an important company, get to the top of that company and serve it for Allah's sake. And make that a means of strengthening Islam. So as the year draws to a close and the new year comes, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us people who take advantage of our time before we're busy, and our youth before our old age, and our life before our death, and make us a people who find our purpose and use it to serve the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And to do that, one of the most blessed ways is to start our year with the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to finish our year with the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And tomorrow night, which is New Year's Eve, I invite all of you to Al-Markazul Islami. So it's only for 20 minutes as the new year comes in. We start 10-15 minutes before the new year comes in. We do zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as the new year comes in, we start that new year with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name. So we should all come and spend that time and make an intention to use this year for the benefit of Islam and to achieve our purpose. And for blessings in achieving that, we should start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and finish this year with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask Allah to forgive me if I've made any mistakes and accept all of our worship and efforts in this year.